everybody. I'm Victoria Simmons with the Georgia Post, and this is this week's edition of the Georgia Post Review. Our guest this week is Paul Chapman, who is chairman of the Crawford County Board of Commissioners, and whom I think actually does a good job. Paul, we're glad to hear you today, that you're here with us today.
It's good to be here. Appreciate it.
Okay, we're going to be talking about some issues in the county and as well as T-Splost, and you have decided to run again for your position on Post 5, is it?
Yes.
Okay, so can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Well, initially I was requested by some people to run, which would be almost 7.5 years ago. This will be my 8th year, and one of the things that when my wife and I began to talk about me running, everybody needs a slogan, and mine was willing to serve. And I believe that I'm there to do that, to be of service. If it's about me or if it's about any one particular person, it's not right. If it's about the people in District 5 and Crawford County as a whole, then I'm doing the right thing. So I've enjoyed it. It's been a lot of work in some ways, and hopefully I'm going to get 4 more years.
Well, we hope so too. During your tenure, what are some of the things you think you've accomplished, or the county's accomplished? I know it's not just a one-person thing.
No, and it is 5 commissioners, which do anything, or a majority of them 3. I think one of the things that I personally have been very involved in is working with the Industrial Authority. I believe that the future of Crawford County has a lot to do with what we're going to do commercially. And I know there are those that want to keep us rural, and that's great. But the industry helps fund and keep the taxes down off of the rooftops, and I'd love to see some more continued. This past week, we have a new company locating here in the Industrial Authority building, and they're going to provide, we think, around 20 to 30 jobs, which is good. Not only that, but they are going to locate here in Roberta. So if people are coming here to work, then chances of them buying lunch and dinner and anything else that they can buy would benefit the businesses here locally. 2 greatest things is the creation of the Recreation Department, the board, and we've seen great strides in what the Recreation Board has done there with the kids and baseball. They're working on soccer, basketball, and so I think that's a good thing. And then the other thing is the county itself is on good financial terms. I think we're in one of the best financial situations that we've ever been in, and I'm proud of the fact that of the last 8 years, only one of those years have we had to dip into our reserves, and this year we just finished with one of the greatest increases in reserves, so I'm thankful for that.
And that was not always the case with the county, so that's a very good thing.
No, the county used to do tax anticipation loans in order to have money to start the year, and we no longer do that. It's good.
Yeah, and they just had a clean audit too, so.
Yep, the first clean audit we've had. The first year that I was on the board, Dean Fripp and I went to commissioner training down in Savannah, and we had just gotten our audit for that year, and Dean and I were in a financial training class, and as part of that class, the person that was teaching the class said, if you have issues in the back of your audit, that those issues need to be addressed. If you've got 1 or 2, you're in trouble. We had 4 or 5. So to have a clean audit with no problems, no issues, we're thrilled.
Yeah, that's great. So when you get re-elected, what would you like to accomplish this next term?
One is I'd love to see this transportation sales tax go through, and that's me personally, not speaking as as the Board of Commissioners, but me personally. But then I think there are some quality of life issues. There's one that I've wanted for many years to happen, and hopefully we're going to have an opportunity to work on that. And if we do, then I think all of the citizens of Crawford County will have an opportunity to enjoy that. And I'm not going to say a whole lot about it. It's just one of those things that I've spoken to many people about, and everybody thinks it's a good idea, but so far we haven't moved on it. So,
what else would you like to see?
Continued growth as far as being able for people to provide jobs. One of the things that some of us are still working on is hopefully to get a grocery store. It's a shame that a community of our size doesn't have a grocery store. We're thankful for what the Dollar General has done, but we still need that full grocery store, and I'd love to see that happen as soon as possible.
And y'all are also exploring the possibility of a community development block grant for the health department, right? Which
Yes. That would be the 2019 CDBG grant. We had a meeting last Tuesday evening on it, discussing with the state director that oversees all the facilities, and we're going to be working on that. One of the things you asked earlier about things that have happened, the Plan First Community is another good thing that's happened. As a part of that, our CDBG grants now, instead of being $500,000, are up to $750,000. So if we do put together this improvements to the health department, then we would be eligible for up to $750,000 from the state for the CDBG grant, and that would go a long way toward improving that office and also making it more accessible for greater services.
Also, as part of the Plan First Community, can't you apply for those more frequent than you could before?
Yes, under old rules CDBG, you can apply for it every other year, but since we were qualified as a Plan First Community, we now can apply for it every year, and it was also increased, so we've got a good benefit there. Plan First Community, there's only probably 10 to 15 community cities within the whole state of Georgia that are Plan First communities.
Mm-hmm. That's true, and it's for 3 years, so.
Yep.
What happens at the end of the 3 years? Do you get to apply again?
We can apply again. We'll go through the same process. They look at, I believe it was in 2016 or 17, we did a comprehensive plan for both the city, county, a whole plan. As a part of that plan, it says what we're going to do. And so in this Plan First Community, they're going to look at what we said we would do and what we have accomplished over these next 3 years, and help determine whether or not we get that same Plan First Community continuation.
Okay, let's talk about something that I know you're excited about, and that you're definitely for, and that's the upcoming transportation tax, or T-SPLOST. So tell us how it'll benefit. Tell us about the tax itself first, because you've been involved kind of on some kind of round table.
Yes. There are 11 counties going from Baldwin County, Crawford, Houston, Jones, Macon-Bibb, Monroe, Peach, Pulaski, Putnam, Twiggs, and Wilkinson County. So we've got a large area. Several years ago, when the T-SPLOST was initially done in 2010, Crawford County was one of the counties that did not pass T-SPLOST. It did not pass. And the T-SPLOST is made up of these 11 counties. It has to have a majority of all the voters that vote. So May the 20th, when all of us go to vote that day, they're going to take up the votes from the whole 11 counties. If it is 50% plus one vote, then the T-Splosh goes in for the 11 counties. If it fails, then it's out for all the 11 counties. This is, personally, I think it's one of the few times that we're ever going to have the chance of getting a regional T-Splosh. And for Crawford County, it's important to be part of a regional T-Splosh versus an individual T-Splosh. If we're part of the regional T-Splosh, all of our tax monies that we spend in Macon, Warner Robins, Thomaston, Butler, wherever we are around our community, those tax dollars go out to those communities. They use them. They have the benefit from them. On a regional T-Splosh, the monies go into one big pot, but they are dispensed out to all the communities. It's based on population, it's based on road basis, and so for Crawford County, it is a tremendous asset. And for us, I believe it will be good. But if it does not pass this May, then at any point after that, any one of the 11 counties can vote their own T-Splosh in. If one county votes in the T-Splosh, you never can have another regional T-Splosh until there is 0 counties within the region that have a T-Splosh. So if there are counties right now that I can guarantee you would rather be in a individual T-Splosh because there are certain things that they can control more than what this does, and they don't like the fact that their tax dollars are going to go back to us or to other communities that we're spending those dollars in their counties or cities. And so May the 20th is very important, and it's very important.
22nd.
22nd?
Yeah.
Ah, I messed up. Why did I see that on some of my paperwork?
It's okay.
Okay. Anyway, May the 22nd is the date, and I do stand corrected. Not afraid to say that. It is a 1% sales tax. It will begin in October the 1st of 2018, and it is expected to generate over $637 million. Of those $637 million, some of the money goes into expenses that are to run the T-Splosh itself. A portion of it is considered inflation over the next 10 years is going to eat away part of that. That's been based at 3%. Some of the expenses has been based a little over 4%. But the bottom line is, when you get down to it, it leaves $369 million plus dollars. On top of that $369 million, the state is going to put in $135 million. That's $135 million. There's some people say, well, the state's already doing work in our county, or already, I saw on US 80 coming in today, there's a sign there that says road work for the next 11 miles. So I expect Georgia DOT is going to be doing some work along US 80. That work will continue. The regional transportation sales tax, or SPLOST, does not affect what the state DOT already has planned. So this is in and above that when they say they're going to place $135 million in here. So it comes down to a little over $504 million. Of that $504 million, 75% of that has to go into a regional investment list. This regional investment list, we as Crawford County gave some of the projects that we wanted to see done. The city of Roberta put in the project they wanted done. Every other city and county put into this regional list, and that regional list, if you added up all the dollars, ended up, I think, over $9 billion worth of work. So we've got $504 million. And there was a part of the regional commission that came down. There were 5 members of it, and those 5 members had the responsibility of taking this huge list, bringing it down to a manageable level of $504 million. And then we as a complete board went back and voted on that based on what everybody had said is our priorities, and here's what we want, and here's what we really need. And so for Crawford County and for the city of Roberta, because they are a part of this, the city of Roberta gets the paving of East Agency Street. That's $1,593,000. Crawford County, as a part of what we gets some passing lanes on US 80 between Roberta and Macon. I was coming up here this afternoon and there was a truck running around 45 to 50 miles an hour. Some passing lanes would have been great to possibly get here if it was at the right point. Those passing lanes are going to cost a little over $6 million. The engineering's not done. We don't know whether it's one set, we don't know whether it's 2 sets, we don't know where they're going to be. That's a part of what DOT will do, because DOT is responsible for getting all of these jobs that are on this regional investment list done over this next 10-year period. I can tell you that some of the work like East Agency Street, that comes in, there are 3 different tiers of work to be accomplished. Repaving of roads, that kind of stuff where there's not a lot of engineering work, that will be done in the first tier. And it's also based on money coming in. So as taxes are collected, they're able to be spent. You can't go out and spend the money, then collect the taxes. So there's going to be a little delay there, but in that first section are going to be road repavings. That second section, and I know that these widening lanes on US 80 are a part of that second tier. There's another project I'll talk about in Bibb County. It's a part of that third tier. And that's because the engineering and the work and everything that's got to go into it means that it takes longer for DOT to do that work. But we do get the passing lanes. The second part is we have the resurfacing of Sandy Point Road from Marshall Mill Road to the very end of it. And then the other thing is a new construction, which is the paving of Matthews Road. That runs off of Highway 42 and it goes to Jackson Road. And the resurfacing of Sandy Point is $1.2 million. Matthews Road is $1.7 million. So there's those projects are going to be taken care of by DOT. They don't require anything of us. And one of the things that needs to be noted is that DOT has to accomplish these jobs before the 10 years is up. Every one of these projects they have committed to doing, and they will do. In addition to these millions of dollars that will be spent, it's a little over, I think it's right at $10 million, is another part of it, and it's the 25%. I said 75% is going to be spent on the regional investment list. The other 25%, which comes back to the city of Roberta or back to Crawford County as a whole, that for Crawford County is going to be $8.1 million over a 10-year period. So it's a lot of money, and then the city of Roberta gets $237,000. Total, if this passes, Crawford County benefits almost $19 million. So it's a tremendous impact, and everybody always says, yeah, it's a sales tax, I'm paying it. So what do I get for it? if we look at Crawford County's T-Splosh for the last 10 years, we average a little over $500,000 per year of income off of a 1% sales tax here in Crawford County. Our T-Splosh, our education splosh, all of those 1% will bring in around $500,000. If we look at that over a 10-year period, it's a little over $5.5 million. Wow. So on one side, if we were to put in a 1% transportation tax for us, we get $500,000. If we put in a regional transportation sales tax, then we get in $18 million versus $5 million, excuse me. So it's, for us, it is a benefit. And I believe that it's one of those things that's important to us. Other things that are important around, some of all of us drive to other communities. Highway 96 in Twiggs County would be 4-lane from where Houston County stops and goes on over. Peach County would get a 4-lane bypass continuing around the top side of Fort Valley, going out to 96, and 96 would be 4-laned on out to I-75. Macon-Bibb County, and this is one of those third-tier projects. Right now, everybody's enjoyed the exit off of I-75 there at Sardis Church Road, and that is being 4-laned all the way over to 247 so that it can get better traffic in and out of the base. Well, where that ends at 247, they want to run what I think would have been a better fall line freeway than the one that goes to the bridge to nowhere downtown Macon. They're going to take that Sardis Church Road and go across 247 all the way to Segota Road, which is in Twiggs County, I believe, which would be a 4-lane. Engineering, purchasing of land, doing all the environmental studies, that takes up a big part of the DOT's work. And that's the reason there's over $30 million in that project. And it's just to prepare it. It's not enough money to do the road, but once you get that part done, then if next time there's a regional transportation tax, then the possibility of putting a 4-lane on through there is great. Just lots of things. And if you go to the Regional Commission website or to Crawford County's website, we've got a link where you can go and see all of these regional projects and see everything that is going to happen, and hopefully it will pass where that Crawford County and other counties within the Middle Georgia region can benefit. Let's see, one thing you haven't mentioned is, and I believe, correct me because I'm not as versed in this as you are, but because roads are always a problem in Crawford County, yep. And you're always trying to find ways to pave more, and it's expensive paving roads. It's mind-boggling how much it costs to pave roads, actually. But if it passes, the LMIG match, which now currently we match certain, isn't it going to be reduced? Yeah, there's several things. This $8.1 million comes back into Crawford County, and it has to be used for transportation. Transportation can be railroad, can be airports, bike paths, paving of roads, be they new dirt roads being constructed to repaving. It can be equipment that you may need to pave or to maintain roads. That $8.1 million has to be spent by the commission for that. The LMIG right now is 30% match because we failed to pass this regional sales tax. Last time our match became 30%. If we pass it this time, our match goes to 10%. So even where we're getting those LMIG dollars now, it's costing the county 30% matching, and so it is a benefit. We will save in multiple ways, and roads are probably the #1 thing that anybody ever calls me about. I got a dirt road, and the ditches need pulling or water's running across it. If the regional transportation sales tax passes, then we have an opportunity, the Crawford County Commission has an opportunity to make a huge difference in the roads in Crawford County. Right now we spend a little bit less than $500,000 a year on roads. If we continued at that spending with the county and the LMIG plus this, we'd have over $1.25 million a year to spend on roads. So it'd make a tremendous difference every year.
Do you remember, I remember at one of the commission meetings, they said how much it costs per mile to do or pave a road. Do you remember what that is?
I don't remember what it is. One of the other things that I failed to mention about the T-Splost is this T-Splost for this area is to generate $600+ million. If we vote the T-Splost in, and in the if we were to get that $600 million in 8 years, 7 years, 9 years, the T-Splost will stop at that point. The generation of funds will stop. And then the work would continue on to the end of that 10 years, or we could vote in another T-Splost, have time to vote in one to continue the work that already started. And the county, there are 3 districts or regions in Georgia that did the T-Splost, and every one of them have had great success with it, the ones that have voted it in 2010.
So you're saying if they collect the money that they're expecting in a shorter period of time, it would end then?
Yes, the collection of monies would end.
Okay.
Because that's what we're voting on, is this $600 million.
All right. Well, thanks, Paul. That was some eye-opening information. This week's guest has been Paul Chapman, Chairman of the Crawford County Board of Commissioners, and he's been telling us all about T-Splost, which that vote comes up on May 22nd. And if you haven't registered to vote, I believe you have until April 24th to register. Thank you, and I hope that you have a good week. We'll see you next week.